What's going on, gamers? Man, huge day, and then we got Ghost of Yotei here, hitting at 87 meta. What a turnaround, crazy. And there were some people talking about the meta being low for part one, so it may be lower than that. I said, I don't know about that. I think they need to hit higher. And I'm gonna guess between an 83 to 87. And what would be bad would be if it hit below 81. And it's seems to be in that range. So there's a lot to talk about here. Are we ready? Ghost of Yotei reviews. We have PSU, VGC, Game Rant, Game Spew, and Digital Trends all giving it a 10. We're seeing, okay, IGN gave it an 8. Okay, we said it wasn't a 7 out of 10, right, guys? GameSpot gave it a 9. Okay. And overall, the Metacritic is an 87. OpenCritic says 89. That wasn't, I don't know if that's been updated, but I ended up, getting that ready. Are we ready to take a look at this meta? It's at an 87 right now with now 108 reviews. It held it. This slams past everything. With what Sony did last night, though, the state of play was okay. You know what I mean? It's things more sinking now. I feel like it's more okay now. But with those two games, definitely Wolverine carrying it at the end to a certain degree. I have to read more into it as I found out some more things I got to keep reading to see how things are going to turn out. But all in all, I'm a huge Marvel, Wolverine fan, X-Men fan. That's why I was so excited in that video, guys, because I love X-Men. That's what I came in that energy with, that X-Men energy. Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites for sure when it comes to comics. Big on that. That's why you saw that energy. But getting to here, though, the energy's still good, though. Now we got a samurai game that's in 87 meta. I said this will be better than Assassin's Creed. I was still right. You're not seeing me hate. I'm giving credit where it's due. The developers made a good game. We're back to getting to a good video game. Most of that team is still there. I've said give them the benefit of the doubt. So as we see this, congratulations, good job. Now, seeing a 100 real quick, let's see what COG has to say here. Then we're going to take a look at what Jor has to say, who's a huge fan of stuff like this as well. Going over here, it says Ghost of Yotei is one of the best games I've ever played from top to bottom, beginning to end. 60 million budget. This is crazy. This says a lot about the management and the talent at Sucker Punch, not to be underestimated. It is the epitome of what AAA game developers should strive for. It completely delivers on all fronts. Combat, narrative, visuals, world building, and audio. But most importantly, it's simply a ton of fun. Sucker Punch Productions has raised the bar to a seemingly insurmountable height. When it's all said and done, people will look back at this generation and regard Ghost of Yotei as a true magnum opus. It's games like these that remind me just how special the medium can be. So if we got both of these doing well and they're going to make a third one, and man, you never know, Jen may pop up and be like, look, we're back. But yeah, okay. Sucker Punch leaves nothing on the table with Ghost of Yotei. The game represents everything we were promised the PS5 could deliver and then some. Every aspect of its artistry, mechanics, and technology is used to the fullest in perfect balance. No one, I think he said not one part of Ghost of Yotei outshines the rest. That's what he meant. And that's okay though. And that's because each component bleeds into the other so naturally that they cease to feel like disparate elements. Guys, I think I think this may be what we wanted past all that other stuff. Atsu's journey is one that will stick with me, but not because of the magnificent world I explored, the memorable cast of characters I grew to love, or the dramatic swordplay. Those are all different colors used to paint the complete picture that is Ghost of Yotei. All are strong on their own, but together form something much greater. Ghost of Yotei is a genuine masterpiece that takes up the mantle dropped by Tsushima and runs with it. So far, you know what I mean? Oh man, there's a lot of 100s. That's very interesting. So yeah, turns out to be well. Now going over here to Joe Raptor's post, he said, Ghost of Yotei has one of the best open worlds I have ever experienced. You will be constantly distracted by NPCs that need your help or say they need your help. Many of the returning activities now come with small side stories and fun twists like having to cut bamboo while drunk. I do wish there were more new unlocks. Since the game mostly rewards you with things we already had in Tsushima, but didn't stop me from enjoying the gameplay. way more thoughts in my spoiler-free review. So let's go ahead and take a look at his spoiler-free review real quick to get an idea, because that's probably what people want here.
Open worlds I've ever experienced. It's a game where you want to wander and stop whenever something grabs your attention, because there's a good chance it will lead to a fun little adventure
So
with a
1080p,
nice
huh?
reward at the end. This is such a step up from Tsushima, where the map was filled with the same activities that quickly got repetitive, not to mention the handful of random encounters that they kept repeating. In Yotei, almost everything feels handcrafted, put together with a lot of thought. I would even dare to say that it comes close to what Red Dead Redemption 2 accomplished. But Yotei is also a game that feels more like a redo than a sequel. If like me you put hundreds of hours into Tsushima and the Iki Island DLC, some moments won't be as exciting, and many of the unlocks you earn along the way are ones you've already used before. But it did not stop me from really enjoying the gameplay though. The new weapon types give you more freedom in how you approach encounters than I first expected, and it's huge that we now have multiple enemy factions instead of only fighting the Mongols throughout the whole game. I now finished the story, have done a lot of the side content.
Yeah, it's looking pretty sick here. Better than the footage they were revealing, since he's giving us raw footage, even at 1080p. Liking what I see.
So I want to share my spoiler-free thoughts in this video. All the footage you see here is from the first chapter of the game, so no need to worry. And this first chapter is very open, by the way. In Tsushima you had to complete a lot of main missions in one region before you could move on to the second and then the third. In Yotei, most of the map becomes available relatively early, and it's up to you in which order you want to tackle things. The game kicks off with a strong linear opening that you should experience for yourself. Let's just say that Atsu quickly makes a name for herself as the Anryo hunting the Yotei 6, a group of high-ranking soldiers led by Lord Saito. So already early on, while exploring the world, you will run into Saito's men who attack you on sight, as well as Ronins who saw the bounty on your head and are looking for a quick coin. The cool part is that your interactions with these enemies are always a little different. You might come across Ronin questioning settlers about your whereabouts, or someone pretending to need help fixing a broken cart, only to ambush you with his friends. Surviving these encounters often lets you interrogate the last remaining enemy for intel on key objectives, after which you can choose which lead to follow first. But there's a high chance that on your way to your next main story mission you will constantly get distracted. NPCs around campfires might ask for your help. Sometimes it's a short 10-minute side quest, other times it's a longer one that rewards you with an entirely new armor set. Atsu has a wolf companion that shows up randomly, but to strengthen your bond you'll need to look out for wolf dens.
That's pretty cool. I like everything I'm hearing here. So they made the open world feel less repetitive, more alive, and it has a dynamic system to it. The engine looks definitely refined. I mean, I have to say they're definitely talented doing this without making their budget insane. It just gives you an idea of what things could be like if you could have it going like this a lot more and get the live service going and branching out.
Saito wants these animals gone, so it's your job to rescue them from nearby encampments. Each camp also comes with its own little twist, and saving these wolves always gives you a skill point to invest in the wolf skill tree, so the creature can more frequently help you out. But my favorite new activity is going after the bounties in each region. Every target has a short story and its own personality. It's a nice way to earn some quick cash, and sometimes you even get a unique item out of it as well. But for the most exciting rewards, you will want to hunt down the mythic tails. They are even more varied than in Tsushima, let you go to some very cool environments, they have unique gameplay twist. It's really one of the most exciting content in the game. There are actually quite a few activities from Tsushima that return in Yotei, like bamboo cutting, shrines, onsens, and fox dens. But developer Sucker Punch has done an amazing job of keeping them fresh this time around. For one, you unlock the impact.
That's cool. Remember, guys, I got the platinum on Ghost of Tsushima, so I know about everything. I mopped the whole game 100%.
Impactful upgrades much faster. Onsens always increase your health, and you only need a few bamboo strikes for a new spirit orb instead of 7 for the final upgrade in Tsushima. On top of that, every single one of these activities you come across has its own unique twist. One time I saw someone struggling to cut bamboo with a stolen sword, so I had to show them how it's done. Another time I had to drink 2 bottles of sake and then tried to cut the bamboo while drunk. And trust me, there are many more fun ones you'll want to see for yourself, where these could easily become tedious. In Tsushima, in Yotei, I'm always excited to find them, just to see what new idea they came up with. I'm also pleasantly surprised by the extra freedom we get in how we can approach combat. That said, there are some choices I'm not a huge fan of and that I think could have made the game better. So a lot to go over real quick. If you are enjoying the video so far, would be awesome if you could leave a like, subscribe so you don't miss a ton of the spoiler-free tips and tricks we're working on. And if you have any questions about the game, drop them in the comments and I will do my best to answer them. Of course, the biggest new addition to Ghost of Yotei are the new weapon types. You start with a single katana, but very quickly unlock the dual katanas, which feel completely different and are especially...
Yeah, that's what I like, because now I know in combat I can have a lot more fun in a world that's more dynamic, with an engine that's more maxed out with the PS5. Or if you got the Pro, you'll be playing that too. And it's just going to be fun and great, because I mean, I really enjoyed Tsushima, but I wanted them to like take it to the next level. We'll see if they do that with this. So far, people are saying that, and you know, everything is looking good.
Effective against spear-wielding enemies. As you might know, stances are no longer in Yotei. Instead, you switch weapons depending on the enemy you are facing. In essence, it's still kind of similar, but wielding a Yari spear or a Kusarigama is obviously more exciting than just having a different moveset for the katana. The Kusarigama is in particular a ton of fun to use because it's quite different versus the other weapons you have, with the short-range sickle and the long-range AoE ball and chain. It even adds a new stealth move that lets you quietly take out enemies from range by pulling them towards you. But still, the downside of these weapons basically taking the place of Tsushima's stone, water, wind and moon stances is that it's hard to stick with your favorite. If you do, it will be less effective than picking the quote-unquote right weapon. Luckily, this is where the Odachi comes in. This enormous sword is great against brutes.
Yes, an Odachi, I love those weapons.
But also really powerful against the other enemy types, letting you basically ignore the whole rock, paper, scissors gameplay. Like, I had the most fun experimenting with loadouts, using the returning charms and armor sets to build around this slow but very powerful sword. Now, I do wish the RPG elements went a bit further though. A cool new addition are the ranks for the charms, which increase their effectiveness as you complete certain challenges. This really entices you to play in fun new ways. But that said, the armor sets are once again tied to a single playstyle, even though Yotei's combat is at its best when you mix things up, sneak around, then pick off enemies maybe with a range.
We're going to be doing that. I know where you guys will see me be playing this possibly. Depending on if I'm getting it day one or not, I'm not sure.
Weapon and then finish the rest off in melee combat. But an armor set will only benefit one of these playstyles. It would have been cool if we could grab one perk from one armor set and put it on another armor set to make our own playstyle. Another issue is that we've seen most of these armor perks before in the first game. Yotei would have been much stronger if it introduced more new ways to play instead of repurposing many items and unlocks from Tsushima. Over the course of the game, Atsu is basically catching up.
That makes sense with some reused assets, definitely with the budget, but for what they have, yeah, that's impressive.
Up to where Jin was at the end of his journey. Many of the main story unlocks or even rewards from the 30-minute long Mythic Tales give you things that you've already used countless of times before. Sure, give Atsu the ability to listen again or set her weapon on fire, or tools like a smoke bomb or kunai. But when around 75% of your arsenal is the same as in Tsushima, it does feel like they kinda dropped the ball here. What I do like is that once again you can easily miss certain unlocks if you don't explore. This skill system is
so wait, now we know that's kind of something that's a little bit of a letdown, so that's expected. Okay.
Actually brutal this time. If you don't search for altars scattered across the world, you could finish the main story with only a few skills unlocked. In Tsushima it was possible to more or less mainline the game, but in Yotei that will significantly impact your experience. Next to a lot of skills, you will also miss out on some melee weapons and tools if you just focus on the main story. You will only have 3 armor sets. It will really feel like a completely different game. Dennis in the JoeRaptor team played the game that way and kind of regrets it. So if you usually do the main story content first and then the side content, rethink that, because it's way better to just explore the world, and take things as they come.
That's what
Another
I'm doing.
interesting thing I had when booting up this game for the first time.
Most likely I'll get the platinum for this. But he gives us a lot of introspection on what to expect here. Let me know what you guys think about this. Let's see what he has to say here real quick, and then we'll end this off.
It reminded me why this PlayStation 5 generation has felt so weird. Because it just hits different when a Sony first-party studio makes a game specifically designed for the new hardware. My recorded footage and the YouTube compression doesn't do it justice. This game looks insanely good. The draw distance is incredible. If you got a big screen, you'll be blown away by what Sucker Punch has achieved. With the PlayStation 5 Pro offering a mode that still targets 60 FPS with a higher resolution than the base PS5's performance mode, and also still has ray tracing. The DualSense features are also a great addition. They make...
So there we go. We see that. Let me know what you guys think. Looks like this is going to be a hit for Sony, and they're going to make a ton of profit. If that budget is like they say it is, oh man, that's and with this meta now, and after, you know, everything just leading into with the momentum and TGS, yeah, things are looking good. So we got another good game on our hands. I wonder if they're going to make this be Game of the Year contender just because it hit that aspect with Jeff Keighley. Yeah, I think it's possible. Who knows, though? There's so many, though, in the 90s. That's going to be hard. Later, y'all. Got another great game on our hands. Peace.